All right, settle down, let's get right into it. We've got a lot of material to cover today. Most of you probably think plants need this perfect, pampered environment to survive, right? Pristine soil, the exact right amount of sunlight, perfectly balanced spring water. Well, today's explainer is about a biological rebel. When historical botanists first discovered this thing, it completely shattered standard botanical logic. Imagine a plant that looks at toxic, hypersaline water and just treats it like a pre-workout protein shake. Okay, let's dive into this.
Quick question for the room. When midterms hit, or you're just in a high-pressure situation, do you shut down to conserve energy, hide away in your dorms, or do you actually work faster? Be honest with yourselves. Because unlike most of you who probably panic and completely freeze under the weight of a heavy workload, today's subject actually speeds up when you stress it out. It doesn't just survive the pressure, it entirely relies on it to hit peak performance.
See, nature usually has a very rigid breaking point, but I want you to consider a magic number here. 6. Our subject today is a little plant called Shrinkiella parvula, and it lives along the shores of Lake Tuz in Turkey. Now, this is one of the harshest, most unforgiving environments on planet Earth. The water there, it is a staggering 6 times saltier than the ocean. Most life completely avoids these shores. It's a biological death zone. But this plant, it treats that extreme, toxic salt like a home field advantage.
You might not recognize the Latin name, but you definitely know its family tree. Shrinkiella is a member of the mustard family. That means it's a direct relative to the broccoli, the cabbage, and the turnips sitting in your fridge right now. Seriously, I want you to picture a wimpy, noodle-limbed piece of broccoli literally crying at the first sign of a mild summer drought. Meanwhile, its invincible Turkish cousin is out there thriving in conditions where your dinner would just immediately shrivel up and die.
So to understand how it pulls this off, we have to look at its biological mechanism, specifically abscisic acid, or ABA. Don't worry, I won't bore you with the complex chemistry today. We'll keep it in plain language. ABA is a hormone, and in almost every normal plant on the planet, ABA is a strict stop signal. It gets produced during a drought or when there's way too much salt in the soil. It tells the plant, shut down, save your water. It is essentially a biological panic button. It stops growth entirely just to prevent death.
And here is where we find the genetic glitch. Normal plants hit the brakes. They flood with ABA. They stop growing. They hide. But not our stress junkie. For this Turkish plant, ABA is a green light. It slams the accelerator pedal straight to the floor. Instead of shutting down, it rewires. It accelerates. Growth speeds up. When things get tough, this plant shifts right into high gear. It moves faster. It grows stronger. It just refuses to quit.
Now, the real magic actually happens underground, entirely out of sight. It goes into an underground sprint. While normal plants stop their root growth completely to save resources, the roots of this stress junkie grow significantly faster during severe salt stress. It actively forages for water and nutrients in soil that would be literal poison to anything else. Think of it like a professional athlete. When a pro hits that wall of sheer exhaustion, they don't quit. They dig deep. They push through the pain. They find an extra gear. That is exactly what these roots are doing.
Try to keep up with me here, because this is where it gets super fascinating. You'd think a plant this extreme must have some massive, highly complex genome, right? It doesn't. Its genetic code is roughly the exact same size as its weak, sensitive relatives in your CRISPR drawer. The secret sauce isn't having more DNA. The secret is abnormal activation. It's all about how the plant rewires and activates its standard size code when it's put under pressure. It uses the exact same toolkit, just in a completely different, highly efficient way.
But listen, this isn't just a neat botanical party trick to study in a lab. This biology is the foundation of a real-world master plan. People think we're running out of farmland, but this plant actually loves what we call trash land. So step 1, we find abandoned, degraded, salty land that is completely useless for traditional farming. Step 2, we plant these stress junkie biocrops because they're closely related to oilseed species. Step 3, we harvest them to produce sustainable jet fuels. And step 4, we save the prime, nutrient-rich real estate for the actual food crops we need to eat.
And that brings us to the ultimate goal, a genetic hack for climate change. Biologists are currently working to basically copy and paste this exact stress junkie behavior into our global food crops. Imagine taking that ABA accelerator pedal from this Turkish plant and engineering it into our common wheat or corn. Instead of our fields failing and withering during a severe drought, our global food supply would actually get stronger under pressure. We are taking the blueprint of a biological rebel to shield our vital agriculture against a hotter, drier future.
We are quite literally standing on the precipice of an agricultural revolution. We found a plant that completely broke the rules of botany. It turned a definitive biological death signal into an aggressive growth command. To think that a small plant in Turkey, one that treats toxic salt like a protein shake, is providing the exact blueprint for how we're going to feed the world and fuel our future, now that's absolutely wild.